Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I navigate the markets and find the likely draw on liquidity. But I'm going to add a twist to it. I'm going to make it increasingly difficult for myself. I'm going to limit myself, number one, to only NQ. That means I cannot utilize ES for divergences or anything of that nature to find the draw. Number two, I am going to find a random point in time to observe and find the likely draw on liquidity that is not rehearsed. I'm going off the top. And number three, and most importantly, I'm limiting myself to one time frame. I am only going to use the 1 hour time frame. That means I cannot use the 4 hour, daily, weekly, 15-minute, nothing. I can only use the 1 hour. I'm limiting myself to find the likely draw to show you guys that it is still possible with one time frame. Now imagine if you could incorporate all the time frames, how much more effective it can be. But using this one time frame, one ticker, going to a random point in the past, I'm going to show you guys how I navigate these markets. So I'm going to bring that up so I can't see exactly where price is, and we're just going to pick a random point here. Right here. We'll go right here. How does that sound? All right. What does this have for us? I'm going to wait for us to head into that AM session. It's overnight right now. All right. So immediately at first thing is my eyes go to this high here. Price swept liquidity, formed two bullish gaps here on the way up. After it swept liquidity, price came reversed and disrespected two bullish gaps here. And then while doing that, formed a bearish gap. When it formed that bearish gap, price did not show a willingness to even come and retest this gap. This fair value gap, this bearish gap here, price, when inversing two bullish gaps after sweeping a high, formed a bearish gap and price showed no willingness to come test this gap here. That's number one. Number two, we have several lows here that have my interest. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to mark this one here. And you can mark these as well here. All these lows have my interest coming into this session. We formed a minor bearish gap here. And you can make the case for a breaker here as well, right here. That price came, validated, retested, and headed lower. So everything to me is showing that we are showing a willingness to head lower. So what I do from this point is we have several draws here. I'll put these two lows that have my interest. And again, I wouldn't take a trade obviously at this point. Obviously off of just what I'm seeing, I'm going to go to the lower time frames and other time frames for confirmations and entries and things of that nature. But if I had to limit myself to one time frame, this is what I would do. So this is draw 1, this is draw 2. I'll keep it at draw 2, but I can scale out at draw 1, whatever. Obviously I wouldn't enter off this. As you can see, entering this session, clearly draw 1 tapped into and draw 2 as well. So there you go. Off the bat, the draws here, the lows that I said are low resistance that are likely going to be tapped into. Price came and immediately reversed off of. So that draw appears to be correct for the AM session. Now from this point, I want to see what price does. Heads higher. Now you could see price potentially head higher from that point, inverse a bearish gap. So it could head higher from that point. I'm going to wait for the next AM session. As you can see, even when I said price would head higher, that is correct. So we're going to head to the next AM session, start fresh, and look for what price is showing us. All right, so off the bat, high here. We have a new week gap right here. New week opening gap right there. High above as well. Price after taking this low inversed all these bearish gaps, formed its own new week opening gap down here as well. So I'll mark that out for reference. reference for the future if price does want to come revisit this point. And so from this point, price has just been pumping overnight, as you can see, heading into the AM session. Now, things are not dumb clear to me just yet. We have a bearish gap here. I would wait to see if this bearish gap gets disrespected, and if that's the case, then I would likely lean towards this high here. Now, if this remains respected, then we could look potentially to these lows here. So again, I would stay patient here, and if we disrespect this gap like that, well then now at this point, I put my take profit here, and even as far as the new week gap here. So that's basically what I would look for from this point, and I'll be willing to be incorrect right over here. If price comes right here, I'll accept it for what it is, and I'm incorrect on the draw. But that's what I want to see. High. See, price made it clear after disrespecting this gap. Okay, we want to come into this high, into this new week opening gap. That's what we got. That was my draw. 2 for 2 so far on the morning session. So I'm gonna let it go a bit. We're gonna wait for the next AM session. Filling that new week gap. This high no longer of interest to me. Swept this high as well, this newly generated high. Alright, so we still have a couple hours before the AM session completely starts. I want to see now, does price come rebalance to this imbalance? If so, does it respect it, disrespect it? What does it do? Does price show no willingness to come making this a breakaway gap? If so, then I would look towards this high. If it does retest, holds the midpoint, or respects it, then I would look to see if we come higher once more. So I'm going to wait to see what price does. So now we form two gaps, and for me, it's not definitely clear to me what price will do. So I would wait one more to see what price is showing. And to me, okay, if I had to pick, we came, wicked all the way, respected two gaps. If I had to pick, I would pick that we would likely go to this high. That's if I had to pick. Am I convicted in it? Not completely. Not entirely. I would be willing to accept a loss right back down below this wick for the draw. Obviously, this is not a trade I would take. I don't trade just based off this. I'm just showing you guys where my draw would likely be located. Again, this is one of those that I'm not entirely convicted in. I think actually that if there were to be one that I'm wrong on, this could be that one. So we'll see if it does tap into that high. Even though I wasn't convicted in it, we did get it correct. The draw was correct. And the basis of it was that we did come wick out of this gap. I don't even know. I think we did tap into this gap here. Yeah, we did. So we wicked outside of this bullish gap, tapped into this second bullish gap, wicked back above, closed and respected the first gap, while clearly order flow is bullish. So to me, we disrespected this bearish gap here. This new week opening gap was surpassed. I wanted to see this high as my draw for the AM session, and we got it correct. So let's move on to the next day. Let's remove this, and let's see what price gives us. Bullish gap, low here. Order flow is clearly bullish. I'm keeping that in mind. High right here. Bearish gap here. Midpoint respected. Bullish gap. Disrespected. Turned into an inverse gap. Alright, just off of what I'm seeing here. We got a sweep of this high here. Price did surpass it by a decent amount. Formed a bearish gap here, midpoint respected. Inverse two bullish gaps. If I had to lean somewhere, I would likely wait for one more hour or the 50-minute time frame to pan out a bit more. If I had to, this is a little bit riskier. I would like to see lower prices. Now we're gonna see. I'm gonna wait for this next hour to pan out. If we disrespect this gap, then I would look to potentially change my analysis, but if I had to pick where I think price would likely go, it's towards these lows. So we're gonna wait though for this one more. And clearly, I mean, we go to the draw, but we go there and completely through it, like completely through it. You're seeing 1 and 2. Now to me, I mean, I would look at this low, not enough that I would take a trade on it, of course. There likely won't even be much structure here, but yeah, that low would be where I would look towards. That was definitely tapped into, as you can see. And so then that's where I would form this gap here. So we did get the direction completely correct. It went to our draw and completely passed it, in all fairness. And then the low I pointed out, not something I'm going to take a trade on, of course, but that was tapped into as well. So going to wait now and see what price gives us as we head into the next day. Well, we have this new day gap now. Again, we're not in that next session. I would expect us to go and fill that gap at some point in the future. So we still have around 7 hours here. All right. Now for me, order flow appears to be potentially changing. We have this high here, not tapped into. This low here, not tapped into. We have the new day gap, not completely filled, left a low behind. Bullish gap inversed. All right, so to me, if I had to pick one side here, I would pick these lows right here. I would be willing to accept that I'm wrong at this draw. Obviously, that's the opposing draw. If I had to pick, I would look towards this low. Based on what I'm seeing, order flow's bearish. Bullish gap here formed, inversed, swept highs here on the lower time frame, came down, tried to fill this new day gap, left several lows below. So I would look towards lower prices. So we'll see if we get that. And we do. So that draw completely tapped into, filled that new week. Sorry, I said new day gap. The new week gap. Obviously, after taking that, we swept highs here on the lower time frame, formed a bullish imbalance, inversed, came headed lower, left several lows below. Order flow's clearly bearish. That's just where I would lean towards. Again, this is with no lower time frame entries. These are not entries I would take. I'm just showing you where I think price would likely draw towards. So we'll wait for the next day to come, and then we'll do that once more. So I think I've gotten, if I'm not mistaken, almost every single one, if not every single one, correct of my draws so far. This is the last day. So let's see if I go completely correct here, or let's see if I ruin it on the Friday. Number 1, bullish gap inversed. Number 2, bearish gap here. Unless something changes in the next hour, which I am going to check the next hour, this has been respected so far. Lows tapped. Little to no rejection from that point. Now you're starting to see that reversal. I'm going to wait 1 extra hour, see if this gets inversed. If it gets respected, then we could even come lower to this low. So if it gets disrespected, I would go towards this high. Wait 1 more hour. And I think it's making itself pretty clear, at least to me, that this, well, this is likely the draw. Now, it'd be kind of dumb of me to take this, obviously, because there is no clear place to stop. But whatever. And there you go. Draw tapped into. What I wanted to see, we got it. And then from this point, as you can see, that bearish gap has been respected. Midpoint held after sweeping right here, inversing a bullish gap. So to me, lower prices just looked much more appealing. And yep, that's exactly what we get. So that's just a little bit of an analysis, limiting myself to one time frame, one ticker, which is NQ, limiting myself to a random point in time, not rehearsed off the top, showing you where I think price would likely draw towards. And I think for the most part, I've gotten it pretty much correct. I don't think I got one wrong, but yeah, just showing yourself, limiting myself, showing you that it's possible to find the likely draw using very simple concepts on what's being respected, disrespected, order flow, and things of that nature. So I hope you all have a great day. and take care, everybody.